we were getting ready to be married for 10 years when that happened. We were just coasting, it's like you never would have imagined that would happen so late, but it did. And
we weren't agreeing on things. We weren't agreeing on what we wanted to do in life and, family and whatnot. And so I had completely shut down.
And I just remember laying in bed. It was literally like midnight, and I heard a text message, and I was like, all right, that's kind of weird. And I went and looked at it, and I had to do a double take. I was like, what exactly am I looking at? I saw the inappropriate messages going back and forth, and I was just like, I was almost in shock. I was in shock. I was just like, this isn't, what am I actually looking at?
I grew up on the north side of Richmond. It was rough neighborhood, a lot of drug using, a lot of drug selling. There was a lot of shooting. My mom was married to my dad, but my dad had his own struggles, so he was in and out of the home consistently throughout of my life. She did raise me in church, but I had no real connection to the church. I was actually really influenced by my environment.
I feel like my whole life I have always been I stood out as a little bit awkward and didn't really know myself and didn't really realize that I was awkward. I just knew that something was different, and I used to tell my mom, I'm so homesick, but I don't know why. I grew into this lonely feeling.
I knew that an affair was wrong, but did that stop me? No.
Even being in the military and going through Afghanistan and experiencing combat and war, you adapt to those moments when they're happening and you deal with it, but I don't think I have ever had anything obviously hit me emotionally.
I had a male family member, try to groom me to have sexual relations with me at an extremely young age. And the result of that was I was introduced to pornography. I was pretty young, probably around maybe 11 or 12 years old. My father was still in and out of the home, but a few years later, I know that I was in middle school, and he passed away. And he was basically found already dead, maybe 2 or 3 years after that. I'm sorry. My grandmother called on the phone and said my mom had just passed away.
I got diagnosed with depression in 8th grade, I believe. I've definitely been to my breaking point, and to a point that I felt like I couldn't carry on anymore. Contemplating suicide, I just cried out to God. And it was before I fully knew him, but I just cried out, if you're real, if you're here, please do something, because I cannot do this.
Once she died, there was no more church. I never went back to church. And the day she died is when I started smoking marijuana. I stopped going to school. I dropped out. I got high. I got in a lot of empty relationships. Not really caring about life for a while. Years later, we're talking 2000, probably 18, is when I was feeling prompted to change my life. I wasn't in church still, so I was here at home, and I just asked Jesus to come into my heart. I asked for forgiveness for the life that I led, and I wanted to live for him. I tried to read and I tried to pray, and I knew that I needed to find a church home.
My first Sunday at Heights was a super last-minute decision. I came in to take my seat, and I had never experienced worship the way that I did here. The sermon was on depression and how we're so much more than it.
I just remember in that moment that as crazy as it is, it was like I could hear God. He was like, this is my daughter, you have to show her grace. And so it kind of drowned out all the anger that I felt. We ended up seeing a marriage counselor that we went to weekly. And as that was happening, I just remember getting super, super close with a bunch of people.
The first time I came to Heights, I didn't really know what to expect. I had already saw the building. I went in and immediately I felt like this was where I should be.
I went through Foundations. Foundations was a whole nother thing. Even like with COVID, like it was an awesome experience, and I learned a lot. And I feel like definitely became a different person.
I met people the first day I ever went to students that are now my best friends and mentors. I met people in worship team that are my family now. And I can't imagine where I would be without the huge family I found here, because it's my whole life now.
We were getting better, and our marriage was getting better. We were still seeing a counselor, and we found out we were pregnant with our 4th baby.
I am just here to tell you that through all the struggles and all life's hardships, God can fix it.
What I did should have destroyed a family.
If we weren't in Heights in that moment and the people that were in the church family, I don't know what would have happened to us. I don't know where we were.
The Lord never promises that we're not going to have struggles. He's just going to promise that He's with us through them.
He loves you. He loves you just the way you are. He loves you right now in the midst of all the things. He loves you right now.
Jesus looks at that tonight. And this is the word of the Lord for you, Shamika, that nothing is wasted.
Have a relationship with God, because if you have a relationship with God, then your mind isn't going to go to that place.
It's given me new perspective in my struggles. This too shall pass.
God can transform it, and He will take something that's dark, that literally the devil intended to destroy you. He wanted to destroy your life and your family, and God can turn it into something amazing.
Because He lives, He can save you. He can change your life. He can take all those hurts and all that bitterness and all that unforgiveness and all the things that you're carrying around. He can take that. That's why He died on the cross, and He lives in me today. And I know that He can live in you.